So good afternoon, everybody. I'm Beatrix. I will be your host today during this session for Housing Microfinance for Green Transition. And I would like to introduce you Janita Kicic and Adrian Romanchek. They will be our speakers during the session. Before we enter to their presentations, I would like to ask you or remind you that if you would like to ask any kind of questions or comments, you are more than welcome to do so. You can find the chat box that is open during the entire session. And after the presentations, we will go through all the comments and questions and we will discuss them. Also, there will be a Q&A session after the presentations, so you are more than welcome to ask any kind of questions related to the topic that you would like to ask. And also, you can find some interesting materials. There is one button, an icon with the resources that you can find. So there you will be able to find more information on the subject. And now I would like to present you Janita Kicic. She is an Associate Director of Microbiotechnical Assistance and Housing Finance Systems at Habitat for Humanity. With over 2 decades of experience in international development and microfinance, she specializes in global advisory and technical assistance for the affordable housing sector. So welcome, Janita, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Beatrice, and hello, everyone. I hope that you will enjoy in this session. Just give me a second to share my screen because I have few slides to share. I hope it works.
Yes, we can see them.
Okay. Before I start to talk about today's topics, housing microfinance for green transition, just give me a few seconds to introduce Habitat for Humanity. Habitat for Humanity is international NGO established in mid-70s of previous century. And this year we celebrate our 50 years of dedicated efforts toward a world where everyone has a decent place to live. We operate across 4 regions and over 50 countries, focusing mainly on the low-income segment housing issues. And Habitat for Humanity had run and managed a broad range of different programs and projects. And in general, all these programs and projects lead to decent housing. What it means actually, it means that we have 3, maybe pillars that how we achieve and how we will reach to our vision. First is direct interventions in housing. It means that through the voluntary projects and programs and active engagement in local communities, we try to support directly in the field low-income segments to improve or build or incrementally build their housing and improve their living conditions. Also, we are on the first line if any kind of natural disaster happened. It doesn't matter is it natural or man-made, but we are there to help people to sort these challenges at the first moment. Second pillar is sectoral impact. It means that we are partnering with different stakeholders in housing value chain to secure many people to improve their housing in a different ways. And the third one is global impact, and it's mainly about advocacy, where we try to secure that housing issues get proper role in all these global narratives related to housing issues. And how these programs and projects are actually connected with housing microfinance and green transition. One of main initiatives in Habitat is microbuild initiatives, and we started in 2012. How we come up with such type of initiatives? We actually had some learnings from our direct work and direct interventions in the field, and found that access to housing finance is something which is very, very challenging for low-income populations. Also, how we come up to partnering with microfinance institutions. Microfinance institutions, they are provide finance, but financial services and products, but also in the same time, they are very close to low-income segment in the field. It doesn't matter if we talk about urban or rural areas. And how we try to address this issue of access to housing finance. Habitat for Humanity established investment fund of $100 million, which was dedicated specifically for housing portfolio growth. It started, as I mentioned, it started in 2012. And considering that microfinance at that period usually support entrepreneurship and businesses, and they didn't have, many of them didn't have dedicated products for housing. We realized that actually investment in housing portfolio is not enough, and we have to combine it with technical assistance. Technical assistance mainly related to new housing product development to help people to understand what is difference between housing microfinance and financing entrepreneurship. When we talk about new housing product development, we are not only focused on developing and designing product features, but we take a look on all important issues and things related to housing loan disbursement. We assist institutions in improving their processes, improving their systems, even upgrading systems. Also, if they need any kind of support in promotions, delivery channels, if they need some kind of, they usually need support in capacity buildings, we can provide. And our technical assistance, especially in Europe and Central Asia, where microfinance sector is mature, and microfinance industry is very mature, and microfinance institutions are very, very experienced. We develop our technical assistance like modular approach. We use modular approach to technical assistance and give opportunity each of these partners to design which kind of technical assistance they need, and which kind of capacity and what kind of capacity building they would like to also receive. And those projects and these initiatives were very successful for more than 10 years. You can see it, we closed these initiatives in 2024. What else I would like to add related to Microbuild Investment Fund? We provided investment to microfinance institutions to grow their portfolio, and specifically put some standards and criteria what final products should look like. And we said, okay, if we want to be sure that they will target low-income population and address their needs, loan products shouldn't be higher than $15,000, usually with loan tenor up to three years or 36 months. And purpose of those loans, at the beginning, we said that we expected that purpose of these loans will be incremental building in a rural area mainly. Then also we expect that money will be used for land tenure security and for infrastructure, like different kind of wash projects. But what we noticed actually that majority of loans went to home improvement. Home improvement in terms of extending housing units or putting isolation of their walls or roofs, or refurnish or repair bathrooms and similar things related to home improvement. That is, as I mentioned, very, very specific for Europe and Central Asia, considering that housing deficit is more about quality than quantity. And on the right side of this screen, you can see results of microbuild initiatives. Those data are from the annual report 2024. You can see that during these 10 years, 12 years, we work in 33 countries. We support 62 institutions, invested $100 million in housing portfolio, which help us to ensure disbursement, including renewals in amount of over $200 million. You can also see in the screen what was geographic distribution of total fund portfolio. And the majority of fund was allocated to Latin America, but certain portion is also allocated to Europe and Caucasus, which I mentioned. We in our region, when we come to housing, housing is mostly about quality than quantity. And these learnings from Microbuild Initiative first phase motivate us to start to think about second phase of this initiative. But what we learned also that we couldn't only focus on access to finance. We have to take a look broader on financial inclusion, because a low-income population and low-income segment, they need other services, not only loans, if they want to improve their housing conditions or if they want to address their housing issues. They need sometimes insurance, they need sometimes savings, they need different type of loans, not only for home improvements. And what is also interesting, what we learned through the Microbuild initiative, that even if we talk about home improvement, real life show us that the majority of these interventions, home improvement interventions, are actually energy efficiency interventions. Because people invest in upgrading HC systems or establishing heating systems or improving and set insulation in their walls, internal and external insulation of their roofs or floors, trying to make their homes comfortable and warm. And having all this knowledge, prior we start to thinking about the second phase of Microbuild initiative, we decided to not focus only on home improvement, not focus only on incremental building, but also include interventions which are purely green and climate resilient construction. Another thing that we also learn and we try to apply in designing this new initiative, new phase of initiative, is that not only a low income population, but also a lower middle income population, they need some kind of support, because banking sector couldn't address all these issues. And we found that also home purchasing, when we said home purchasing, we talk about social and affordable housing, is also needed. And we take care and keep in mind all these learnings in process of establishing new fund. New fund will be in amount of size of fund will be between 200 and 500 millions, and 20 to 25% will be dedicated for green and climate related issues. Also, we also take care and take in focus gender and digital services. Why gender? Because somehow everything which is related to homes is mainly initiated by women. Our project evaluations show us that women are influencers of all these decisions related to housing. And that is reason why we have to take care about also those components. And I think that additional clarification about digital services is not needed, because if we want to talk about transactions, if we want to talk about payment systems, and if we want to talk about improving processes in the institutions, we couldn't ignore digital services. At the end, related to technical assistance, definitely such complex fund and in this size fund need also combined technical assistance and advisory, which should be more sophisticated, considering that now we have situation where we need to ensure more complex reporting, especially when we come to green and climate components. And I think this is good and long enough introduction of our initiatives.
Thank you very much. That was lovely and really informative. I'd like to ask a couple of questions though. I was wondering, like, what motivated the Habitat for Humanity to engage in working with MFIs? How come the idea, or how is this structured? What was the main motivation for that?
Okay, I will explain that why we work with microfinance institution, and not only microfinance institution, but also association of microfinance institution. I think that I try to explain why we work with microfinance, because microfinance is industry which is in their vision and mission in general focus on low income segment, which is actually strong match with what Habitat wants to do. Microfinance, they have their network of field offices. They have people who are knowledgeable, who knows how to communicate with this segment. Microfinance, they have systems, they develop systems and create their financial products and services, which are actually designed in accordance with need of low income segments. And if we want to address housing issues, definitely we have to partner with microfinance. And not only microfinance, but also there are, depending of legal regulatory frame in specific countries, we always find partners who are close to low income segment. Sometimes we talk about savings credit union, sometimes microfinance, sometimes even microfinance banks, depends in which part of world we are and we are working. But what also is important, and I would like to highlight, I will speed up it. We look different, we try to be clear about in which segment we are, provide support, or in which segment we would like to address issues. And we found, not we, but definitely 3M is something which can help us to identify properly what kind of challenges we have in housing ecosystem. On micro level, access to finance in huge challenge of low income population, but not only access to finance, but lack of knowledge of people. In not only in construction practices, but especially now when we talk about green. Then low awareness, people don't believe, because housing stories long ago told story, and everyone think that they understand and they know how to build and how to improve. And sometimes market is very resistant, and segment is very resistant to change anything. And awareness rising is something which is crucial. Also, on meso level, we have a lot of challenges in terms of regulations and standards. Then in some areas, rental market doesn't work. In some areas also, lending practices are still very traditional, and sometimes I couldn't say outdated, but it should be, they should be improved. Financial product and services also has to now have to address different kind of needs, because maybe 20 years ago we didn't have same needs in housing like now. And the last but not least, macro level, which is very important, is in generally housing deficit in huge, not only quantitative but also qualitative. Environmental challenges a lot complicate things, and financial and capital markets also sometimes doesn't work. And who are the best partners to sort all this and try to address all these challenges? It's definitely microfinance sector, and not only microfinance sector, because those issues are very complex and they include many different stakeholders. And we found that associations and alliances also can help us, because when you as investors work in financial system of some countries or sector, you target one or two leading institution. But what about middle-sized institution, low size institutions? Who will help them to improve their capacities? And if you partner with associations or alliances, you can provide support in capacity building to many players in the market. And when I talk about associations, I think I talk about voluntary association, not those specifically designed to, achieve goals from different political or governmental structure. And that is reason why we work with microfinance and associations.
Thank you.
I hope that I answered your question.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. Would you like to go on and talk a bit more about the project itself?
Yeah, actually, I would like to talk about this for green and clean homeland, because this is initiative. At the beginning, it was not initiative. It was just pilot testing and trying to understand how to work with associations. And thanks to Association of Microfinance Institution in Bosnia and Herzegovina, we had very, very good partner for testing such approach. Why we start this initiative? Because, as I mentioned, all of us now face challenges which are, like environmental challenges. Then, if we talk about energy, especially in Balkan region, we have issues with very poor energy management. We face issues about energy poverty. And somehow, someone has to help these people who are mainly low income and mainly are not educated about those things, because they have different life priorities. And we start to test projects which is focused mainly on consumer education, awareness rising from one side, and another was related to advancing housing microfinance to support energy transition in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Why we partner with association? Because Association of Microfinance, at first, Habitat for Humanity works in Bosnia since 2011. And we partnered with different institutions and different stakeholders. But through the Microbuild Fund initiative, we partnered with 4 institutions. And the results were very, very good. But as I mentioned, technical assistance was available only for those who receive investments. But other parties and other players in microfinance market, they didn't have opportunity to get an access technical assistance, but they need some kind of support in, not specifically in product design, but sometime in communications campaigns, sometime in processes improving, sometime in policies and procedures development, and so on. And to make these services available to players in the microfinance sector, we work with associations, and through the association, we train the people and train the trainers who in the later stage can transfer their knowledge into institution, which in general results with better quality of services and improved products and improvement of product and services, financial product and services. And also in same time, in parallel, using channels of microfinance institutions because they are so close and well connected with clients. Only in Bosnia, they serve more than 250,000 clients. We realized that we can help microfinance sector to educate clients in terms of energy savings. We developed some very, very simple educational materials and share it across the network. And in 2023, we completed first campaign. Midterm review in 2024 show very, very good results. And we continue now. We are in second phase of partnership with Association of Microfinance in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And also in this year, we start partnership with Albanian Microfinance Institution. Concept of projects probably will be similar, but somehow will be modified and tailored to market of Albania.
Thank you. I was wondering, like, do you have an intention in like rolling out the project and cooperate in the future with more countries maybe, or to go on and like really put a bigger like market share, whatever. How could I really explain it to yeah, to widen the project?
I understand your question. When we think about this initiative, we think about, in two directions. One direction is replicate this in other Balkan countries because now Balkan is in focus. And also, we considering that education and rising awareness is not short-term goal. It's long-term goal. Probably we will not probably, but we will continue to work with existing partners, but also replicate in other countries. And after Balkans, Caucasus is good opportunity for us to work together.
Yes, it sounds like it,
Yeah.
definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I would now like to turn to Adrian. Welcome. And I would like to ask you about like the new product FRW for institutions which want to invest in renewable energy and installations. Please, if you could tell us a couple of words on the topic.
Okay, hello everyone. I have a big problem with computer, but let's start. My name is Adrian Romańczak and I represent the Wałbrzych Region Fund in Polish Fundusz Regionu Wałbrzyskiego. We are a foundation and business environment institution which has been building an economically strong Poland for 33 years by developing micro, small and medium-sized enterprises, social economy entities, NGOs, as well as housing sector entities and local government. In this moment, we have loans for RES. This is new products in our institution, and in this moment, one moment, please, okay? One moment, but I have problem with, okay. About the renewable energy loans, the program is implemented on the basis of the operational agreement concluded on March 2025 between Bank Gospodarstwa Krajowego, this is the biggest Polish National Bank, acting as the holding fund manager, Fundusz Regionu Wałbrzyskiego and Wrocławska Agencja Rozwoju Regionalnego, consortium leader. At this moment, the renewable energy sources loan is granted as part of the renewable energy sources loans for Lower Silesia 2021 to 2027 project. It is granted on the basis of procurement contract financed from the European Fund for Lower Silesia 2021-2027 program and national co-financing in accordance with our agreements on financing the projects under the program concluded on November 2023 between the Lower Silesia Województwo and Bank Gospodarstwa Krajowego. The renewable energy sources along with the possibility on the retaining grants in the form of a write-off is granted by VAR and FRW from the trust fund contribution and the financing partner contribution intended to support final investment made by borrowers. Under the above agreement, borrowers from the Lower Silesian Voivodeship will receive support of the amount, and this moment 26 million złotych in euro is in this moment circa 6 million euro. Is the contribution of the trust fund, contribution fund from the European Regional Development Fund in amount of Polish złotych 70 million and VFP on the Lower Silesian Voivodeship Board and in amount of circa 7 million złotych and circa 2 million złotych is the financing partners contribution. This planned effect it's so to grants loans will be contributing to obtaining an additional capacity of generality renewable energy, including electricity, heat energy of 6 megawatt, and which will also contribute to obtaining an additional capacity of installed renewable energy sources of 5,7 megawatt. The implementation period of the RES loans program is from March 2025 to February 2027. What can receive support? Local government units as well as entities subordinate to aware of co-owners of residential building, the scopes of municipal building, except for buildings owned or co-owned by the state treasury. Their unions, agreements and association, their organization units with legal personality. For example, next partner, cultural institution, hospitals, non-governmental organization with legal personality, churches and religious association, legal entities of churches and religious association. Social economy entities, for example, NGOs, all NGOs from workshop. Housing communities, organizational units without legal personality operating under the 24 June on our ship and premises. Cooperatives, social housing association operating under available law. Purpose of financing. This is very important. The loans can finance the following types of investment: construction and expansion of installation producing electricity and or heat. For example, solar radiation, geothermal, aerothermal, ambient energy, biomass and biogas. And then next step, up to 49% in the final investment includes several additional elements that should be counted together. Of eligible expense under to loan may be allocated to construction of energy storage facilities for the needs of a given renewable energy sources, connecting renewable energy sources to power or heating networks, construction or electric vehicle charging station with infrastructure, using energy from a given energy sources storage facility, construction, expansion, or reconstruction of networks within housing communities and energy communities operating in the field on renewable energy. The sum of expense indicated in B, C, and D cannot constitute more to 25 of the value of the eligible expense incurred under loan. Main loan parameters. This is very important. Interest rate in this moment 1% per annum. Maximum loan amount up to 8 million złotych, circa 2 million euro. Maximum repayment period up to 50 years. Maximum write-off up to 30% of the loan value. Grace period up to 20 months. No fees or commissions for processing the application and granting to the loan. Loan value 8 million złotych. Interest. Loans may be interest and terms more than market rated and market rated 1%. The interest rate on the loan on terms more favorable that market condition is fixed through its duration and amounts to 1% per annum. Repayment period 10 years in the case of financing installation with a capacity of up to 15 kilowatt. 20 years in the case of financing installation with a capacity above 15 kilowatt. In the case of loans for final investment in energy production from biogas, the repayment period may be extended by 36 months and will be amounted to 50 years. The loan's repayment period in counted from the moment is disbursed the payment on any loan amount. Loan preference. This loan are preference, but this is Commission European Commission program. Loans for final investments in energy production from biogas. The repayment period can be extended by 36 months and is 50 years. Are granted in the form of a right of a part of a loan capital right to 30%. Rules for granting redemptions. The entity applying for a loan shall specify in the application the amount of the right request, taking into account the conditions for obtaining its specified in the preferential terms for granting loans. As a part of assessment of the application documentation, the financing partner verifies whether the borrower meets the conditions for granting the right-of. If the conditions for granting redemption are met, the investment agreement shall specify the amount granted in relation to a given loan on the condition for its application specified below. Subject the calculation of the loan principal amount specific in the investment agreement shall take place after the complementation of the final investment, the presentation by the borrower of documents confirming the expenditure of the funds in the accordance with their independent purpose, and any other documents if applicable, and verification the eligibility of this expense by the financing partners. Final investment agreements must be implemented only in the Lower Silesian Voivodeship in Poland. They must meet demarcation conditions which concern the permitted total capacity of all generating units of a given type of renewable energy sources included in the scope of the final investment, taking into account the provision that which in the frame of RES installation for our needs financing of installation generated combined heat and power is allowed, as very as financing or installation for a virtual prosumer. The maximum capacities for this installation are prosumer photovoltaic micro installation no more than 50 kilowatt, installation with a capacity of no more than 0,5 megawatt energy, thus not apply to final investment carried about energy cooperatives and energy clusters, and more than 50 kilowatt energy assigned to energy consumption point in the case of a virtual prosumer. Micro installation or small installation with capacity of no more than 0,5 megawatt energy does not apply to final investments carried out by energy cooperatives as energy clusters, and no more than 50 kilowatt energy assigned to one energy consumption point in the case of a collective prosumer. Maximum power installation are biomass no more than 5 megawatt energy, biogas no more than 0,5 megawatt energy, solar radiation no power limits, heat generation installation including energy storage facilities for a given renewable energy source, biomass no more than 5 megawatt, biogas no more than 0,5 megawatt, thermal and ambient energy no power limit. It's also solar radiation. This is all information for RES loans in the FRW.
Thank you very much for all the information. I would like to ask a question from you. If you could share with us about like roughly how big is the demand for this product? So what kind of institutions apply for it or would like to know more information on the loan, or how many of them are roughly?
Okay, represented by my fund already before moment obtaining from the BGK Bank capital on the distribution loans on the renewable energy sources, made detailed analysis market and demand among all potential recipients. Due to the fact that design loans predicts up to 30% write-offs is repayment capital. Loans they meet with high demand among recipients. The largest interest loans on the RES is reported by cooperative housing managers building municipal operating in the form of companies, capital offices, municipalities, communities, housing as well as NGOs, entities, economic, social. The above fact is determined by the attractive interest rate of 1% point in relation to commercial bank offering, and this moment in Poland current interest on at level 8 to 9% as very as in the form of subsidy enable remission up to 30% value loans. You should to emphasize the loans interested and concuse entities that before took up decision to carry out transformation energy buildings in necessary to emphasize this they represented by the fund and me almost 10 years old experience in financing investment, including transformation energy, which on turn the last 3 years characterizes myself significant demand on the preferential sources, financing sources, manufacturing, energy. This is the result of change in document strategy, European Union, and also ongoing conflict on Ukraine and the living countries, member states, union from sources, energy based on fuels fossil.
Thank you. Thank you very much for both of you. I would like to now ask or open the floor to questions directly. If anybody who is here attending the session would like to ask anything, then I would kindly ask them to raise their hand. So then we can start a real life conversation asking in a Q&A session. In case you would like to ask a question, there is a button where you can raise your hand so that we will see that you'd like to have a question. In the meantime, still, if some of you are still thinking about a question or what to ask, I would very much like to get back a little bit to Janita on one more question regarding the first presentation. And actually, I would like to ask if you could summarize a little bit or just give us some hints about like what are the success targets of the program?
Thank you for that question. Everyone.
One of my favorite questions.
Oh my God. Everyone is interested to hear and learn how actually we can measure results and how actually we can measure impact, because all these efforts are because of impact. In terms of this initiative for green and clean, which is not typical, initiative that we had previously. When you work with microfinance institution, it's easy because they already have very good developed systems for tracking data and reporting. Then you have opportunity to ask for additional details and analysis and so on. And of course, when you include these qualitative researches, you can somehow set the framework how to measure the success. But in terms of partnership with associations, and especially with objectives like consumer education and awareness raising, and advancing housing microfinance, let's say, in of total sector of the sector, we have to be careful. And in our case, what we actually did is we take deep look on theory of change and set criteria for all these steps in theory of change. At the first, we set criteria for inputs, what we want to achieve through these inputs and how many activities we would like to push through the inputs, like how many trainings we would like to deliver, how many people we expect that they will be trained, how many educational materials we would like to share in the field, and actually how many people we would like to reach who will receive these materials. Then we take a look on outputs to see at the end how many people we actually train, how many of them transfer their knowledge in the institution, and how many staff in the institution, each institution which is member of association, are trained by this trainer. In terms of educational materials, we have to be sure how many of them get materials through the distribution channels of microfinance institutions, how many of them access these materials through the social media, and it's quite complex matrix how to measure those indicators. And definitely number of households who receive housing loans is one of very important indicators. And we have to collect those data from the whole sector, and not whole sector, but all institutions who are members of associations. And at the end, we have to go to the field and apply these techniques for qualitative researches, and through the surveys and interviews and discussions to collect data about results. It's too early now to talk about final impact, because final impact will be perception of the clients in terms of their, is their home warm, how these initiatives affect their bills, energy bills, how much they save, how they allocate those money. And I think we will be ready to conduct such type of researches and collect these qualitative indicators probably next year. And then I can share more results and provide more numbers about success of this project.
Thank you very much. I'm very much looking forward to it. I hope it will be a real success. Let me get back for a second to Adrian with a question, because like we were talking about the renewable energy loan product and how the demand it is for this loan. I was wondering about, earlier you mentioned the ERDF, like the Regional Development Fund, and I was wondering what is the funding source, the main funding source of the project, and how can you see it in the future, if there is enough availability for funding to keep this loan ongoing?
I think analyzing documents, national and regional programs operational European Union in Poland in perspective financial 2021 to 2027, I think there's availability preferential funds for financing green transformation will be ensured in the next few years, 2 years on enough high level. And the moment present in Poland, only in Poland, the biggest disponer means of instruments finance, which is Bank Gospodarstwa Krajowego, leads number proceeded tenders having to emerge next funds loans for distribution preferential loans on financing transformation energy. The recipients are no just mentioned cooperative housing, manager buildings, municipal operating in the form of companies, capital offices, municipalities, communities housing or NGOs, but also enterprises SMI sector, which they are looking for alternative for loans banking sources financing investment in the area transformation energy, thermal modernization buildings and house production. In the case of SME sector, important investment are those from the area economy circulation closed, which determine again use, repair and recycling materials and projects to last as long as possible, maintain their value while minimizing formation waste. If it's about data numerical, I will serve it myself or an example one the recruitments organized within the framework of national program reconstruction for after COVID, where BGK had a budget on of Polish zloty 96 billion, equivalent to euro 22 billion euro, of which majority constitute loans independent of transformation energy. This is, for me, this is future. You have to country admit that this amount gives impression and in concern she only national program reconstruction that Poland began implement from two summer delay. To sum up, the amounts intended on financing transformation energy in relation to Poland allow assume that green transformation will be main area financing any investment.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would like to ask all of who's listening to us now if they would be so kind. There will be an evaluation question popping up soon. So if you'd like to then just drop a vote about how you found this session, if it's useful, interesting, or not really for your subject relevant. And I would like to thank you for the speakers today. I really enjoyed the session. There was a lot of interesting information, definitely. This is how I find it. So thank you very much. And I wish you all a good afternoon afterwards.